Hey everybody. So excited. We have so much to go into today. Eight tools coming to you. Well, eight resources, right? Um, can't believe some of the insights that are in some of these. And so just wow. Thanks for jumping in. If you are watching the replay, please give us a shout and let us know that you're watching the replay. And thanks for coming in. Hey, so much appreciate it. Um, so we're going to go through eight different resources from creators that are either female, most of them are female, and some of them are people who like strongly inspired a female, but most of them are females. Or and so the point of it is the things we're sharing today help women. So that's what's up. Thanks for jumping in, and please let us know if you're with us. You can send a DM or a comment. If you're one of the first folks to jump in, always. If everybody who comes in before we've been on for 10 minutes, you're entitled to some free support. We'll give you a free branding session. I'm Cherise P. I am the CMO of hiphoptruth.com and Expansion Media. I have, I guess, things attached to my name, if that matters. I was the brand positioning expert for the Coca-Cola company for the entire East Coast for several years. I also led and wrote the company's original mobile ordering strategy for the whole continent of North America for them and their partners. I've been blessed to be a Grammy U mentor, but there's in marketing for the music industry and a few others. But um, enough about me. If you want the session, let us know you're here and send the DM. We'll see the timestamp and get you scheduled. So love that. And at Expansion Media, we love sharing and celebrating media, media that provides emotional healing, um, physical healing, social societal healing, and also celebrating those creators that are bringing that content to us. And so uh, that's the deal there. And without further ado, I'm going to just go ahead and jump into the resources or the pieces of content that we selected to share with you all today. Expansion has hiphoptruth.com and also Music Marketing Magazine, and also the Personal Assistant Center for creators. And basically, many of you may be like dabbling with AI or looking at getting into AI. I've been blessed, like I said, to have led mobile ordering strategy, the creation of it for Coca-Cola, and because it just didn't exist before I started. That's so crazy. I feel so old. But that put me in position to learn a lot and know a lot about mobile marketing and digital marketing. And I know from that work that many of you are getting this fire hose of people telling you to go into automation, and they're like telling you to buy their prompts and buy their prompts, buy their prompts, buy their prompts. Well, okay, so let's say you buy the prompt and you use it for the one or two things. And that you may like need to create content for your business when you're not at home, or for your book, or for your music when you're not at your desk. And it's just not necessarily like here's a dictionary, so go do your job, isn't always the best. So with that in mind, at Expansion Media, we used the digital marketing knowledge that we have and pre-trained a bunch of AI personal assistants for you. Um, and they are available at our personal assistant center. And so we will drop the link for that here as well. And they are personal assistants, a bunch of them there to support you. And because if you're a creator, more than likely you need some personal assistant. So there's that. There's the personal assistant center. And like I said, we're all about celebrating, uplifting media that heals and the creators that make it. So with that being said, let's jump into some media by women, or that so celebrates and helps women, some content, right? So here's one of them that I absolutely just adore and love. I mean, this piece of content, it has been life changing for me. So let me go ahead and grab it. It's here. This is by Isabella Wilkerson. It's called Cast. And let me just say, as a graduate of a historically Black college, whoop, whoop, HU, Hampton University, love HU, HU. So I felt like I knew a lot of what has gone on in, America, or like I felt like I had a pretty decent grasp on, like, yeah, there's racism in America, because you can see that it's the origins of our discontents. A few things, and I'm going to make these quick so that they're easy to understand and that you can get on with your day. But my goal here is, yes, to share these pieces of content that I do think are healing for people, either healing on a societal level or emotional level, and I think even one of them helps you get active on healthy on a physical level, but also to share what I think these creators did an amazing job with, which made their piece of content so awesome. A great quote out there is that if you want to be a great writer, write. If you want to be a great writer, read great books. Well, I think that if you are a healing creator, an uplifting creator, and you want to see your content do well, that it's good to look at creators who have done amazing things. And so, with that, here we go. And to understand, like, why was, and to dig into why was that amazing? What was amazing about it? Okay, so Isabella Wilkerson. If you are not familiar with this particular piece of work, and you are a songwriter or a producer or a filmmaker, hey Brandon Myrie, I know you're in there. He's a dope filmmaker in the group for health, but who else? um Filmmakers, songwriters, producers, I would even say business owners, because I think she really gets into some of the things you might see within your customer base and how they are moving. She does an amazing, amazing, amazing job of taking what has gone on in America, right, and really the world, as it relates to race affecting men and women. And I feel like, before you read this book or go or even listen to this book, you probably feel like you have a flashlight, like, like, oh, there's some racism, oh, there's some sexism, oh, there's some genderism, oh, there's some caste. She, with this particular piece, it's like she turns the lights on. She turns the lights on, and like, oh, and you're like, oh, okay, there's the obstacles that were in my way. Those are all the things. And I can't stress enough, this book is definitely a case of, you think you know, but you have no idea. I took some friends, my one of my line sisters, actually, one of my Alpha Kappa Alpha line sisters, Kim Lodeholt. Hey, Kim, who I know also has a passion for Black history and is an amazing scholar when it comes to it. She reads a lot, and she had so many strong points to make about how this book was game changing. And when I heard her talking like that, I was like, okay, we both went to Hampton. We both love Black history. We both studied a lot. Kim has studied a lot, and she still feels like this book is groundbreaking and game changing. And to be clear, I had heard about Isabella Wilkerson before, but again, it was like, I don't know, but I just wasn't catching it. Um, but 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 when she said it, it was like, okay, I get it. So there's the first female creator to celebrate. And if you haven't seen Ava DuVernay's movie Cast, Origin, which is based on this book Cast, I would highly recommend that you check that out as well. I would say, if you can, try to go through the book quickly first and then check out the movie, but they're both solid pieces of art by female creators and worth celebrating. This one, I think that she does what's the key takeaway for a creator? I would say that in this one, she really let the work stand for itself. Like, there's some, she clearly, it feels clear that she came in with some outline and some clear direction on what she wanted this book to do, and some questions that she wanted to answer, and that she went and answered them with that. And so I would say the same thing for filmmakers, songwriters, producers. The same thing applies to your content. Go into your making process and your creating process, understanding what are the results and the outcomes that you want your audience to feel after they've engaged with your work. There's a great segment where Will Smith is telling his son Jaden that he really wants every person to who engages with his art to come away a better person for it. Now, we're not gonna talk about the Oscars, but his art and his work. And when you go back and you look at the film choices he's made and the ones he said yes to, and you see, Ali, and you see even Enemy of the State and others, you can see how, or I think it's like seven, or there are movies that he chose to say yes to that actually obviously dig into the questions and answers of, do you want to live on this life striving to be a better and better person. So she did that with Cass. She went into it, it appears, with a strong focus on the outcome, and that needs to be the same thing for your creation process. The next piece that we're going to get into The Warmth of Other Suns, which is also by Isabel Wilkerson. This will not be just an Isabel Wilkerson show, but this is an amazing piece of content. I think one of the things that she does as a female creator with this is that she takes something that so many of us likely think we know and feel familiarity to or with, the Great Migration, where Black people went from the South to the North. And she does this amazing job with this healing piece of media, showing you as a creator. I'm giving this to you with your creator lens, but also for those who would read it normally, she does an amazing job showing you how you can take a piece of art or a piece of work and give people something that they might feel familiarity with, and give them an entire new view and even a new outlook on life. She follows in it the stories of people who went through the Great Migration in the United States. And I think that once you come away, for at least for me, when I read this book, it made me look at my great grandmother, Rose Say, so much differently. She chose, with her husband and her children in 19, I believe 42 or 43, to escape the terrorism, the domestic terrorism, white supremacy terrorism that was occurring in the South, and to move to Cincinnati. And this book really helps you understand what a courageous choice that was, how dangerous it was to even leave. They were not even letting the trains in many Southern towns stop in those cities. It will make you look at, if you are a person of color, if you're an African American, it will, I guarantee that it is able to make you look at your great grandparents and cousins who chose to go out north on the Great Migration differently, and that you will see their strength, their courage, their tenacity, and even their love for you in doing that for you, and how you could live, or your cousins who might have been raised up north differently. So that's another piece of healing media created by a dope woman, Isabel Wilkerson. And again, the key takeaway for creators with this particular piece is that just because something has been done or is in existence doesn't mean that you can't dig into it. You can absolutely take something that people might feel is familiar to them and put a completely new dope spin on it. So that's Isabel Wilkerson. Next, I'm going to dig into this particular piece, which is actually by, I think that creators often deal with, so the next piece that we're going to dig into addresses mindset. Creators often deal with all kinds of mindset issues, right? There might be inferiority complex, there may be imposter syndrome, procrastination, all kinds of things can get in there, but those three are pretty ugly. And if you really dig under them and look under the lid, they are probably sisters of the same brother, or three heads of the same animal. This particular piece that we're digging into here is called, it's an oldie but goodie, it's called Battlefield of the Mind, Joyce Meyer. And all of these, I'm going to drop links to them in the comments if you want to get them. But so this is Oldie but goodie, Battlefield of the Mind by Joyce Meyer. If you are in the United States, if you're watching with us in the United States, and we do see that we have some overseas folks. So, hey, love y'all, overseas fam. Thanks for jumping in. If you're in the United States, you know that we are in the middle of a year that is completely poised to be rife with distractions. That's another one, distractions. It's when you get in there and you get into like political years or election years, or craziness on the home front, there can be so much that what makes you, when you're trying to focus and create those good things for your tribe, that will make you just want to go like that. And we need you here because people need the good, awesome things that you're creating. So this is a tool by a dope female, Joyce Meyer, Battlefield of the Mind. This is the devotional. It was given to me many moons ago by my aunt Sheila and Uncle Randy. Thank y'all. I think that it's going to be really important for creators to be clear on what your mindset routines are going to be. Yes, now, but for the rest of the year, as things start to pick up and the news cycles start to get more intense, and it might start to creep into your social media. What's going to be your morning routine? You're like, when you wake up, what kind of what are you going to do to make sure you wake up with gratitude and thankful for what you get to create that day? What are you going to do to make sure you move if you exercise that day? What and to get your juices flowing so that you have the energy to go ahead and create? What are you going to do to stay on track? What kind of planning tools and resources are you digging into? And yes, another shameless plug for the personalassistantcenter.com. That's something that we've created for you all to make it a lot easier to get your work done and to have assistant. You need a personal assistant. And so there's that. And you can get yours at the personalassistantcenter.com. So Battlefield of the Mind, a great resource for creators to really make sure that with this year and everything that it is promising to bring your way, that you can stay strong. Battlefield of the Mind. So love that. And then also we are going to dig into, I'm going to do these two at the same time, these two stories at once. Two resources to look at, two dope women who wrote books. Of course, many of us know the name of Anne Frank. And many of you might know the name of Harriet Beecher Stowe, who wrote Uncle Tom's Cabin. It was a real question mark on whether or not to include these. But at the end of the day, when we think about like creators and hip hop creators, many of them are writing stories about overcoming, about breaking through, about getting through. I think that this particular book right here is one that has been twisted in its being talked about in society. Even the actual main character, Uncle Tom, like there was a character who was in the book who's much worse to his people than Uncle Tom, is a guy called Black Sam. He's actually the character who is, I think, as we would call like a true like sellout in that, in all sense of the word. Uncle Tom, his character, many people feel like he should have been angrier, but he like, anyway, the book itself, I'm getting off track. The book itself is one that gives you a really clear understanding that in the United States, um, the plantation system was actually not so much a system, but these independent individual kingdoms being run as dictatorships by the slave master and his family on every single one. The rules for each one were so different. And in the book, the character, the main character, Uncle Tom, is sold and goes, throughout the South and ends up living on different plantations. I really hate that it's been twisted and it's being talked about and retelling, because this book is a really powerful tool to understand the true horrors that the United States slave system had to offer, or that it held, but also to really understand what many men and women overcame for people of color, Black people, to even still be in this country. I think that she does a really masterful job, Harriet Beecher Stowe, telling the story. In fact, when Abraham Lincoln met her, he said, "Oh, so you're the little woman that wrote that book that started the Civil War." That's what Abraham Lincoln said to her when he met her, because she wrote this book and uncovered and shared so much that even back then had been lied about and whitewashed and covered up in regards to the slave system, and that is still being covered up today. She uncovered so much when she had that character, Uncle Tom, be a really meek and nice person, but going through the South and still seeing all this brutality and dealing with it, that the people in other parts of the country couldn't help but be outraged. And so I think in the spirit of like hip hop, and stories of overcoming. This is a powerful one, and I think that it's a good example of weaving several different narratives into one story. And then when you look at Frank, I mean, her story is like talk about like sharing and writing and being creative in the midst of trial and struggle. And again, we've got such this year that is ahead of us here. I think for sure use Battlefield of the Mind to be mentally strong and to lean into your faith. But if you need an example or reminder of someone who chose to use her voice anyway, even though there was terror and literal terror, literally around her at every turn. Um, Definitely Anne Frank, and the strength that she used to share with us, to even be able to, for us to even be able to know what it was truly like to be within the Holocaust. And so these next ones are actually written by men, but I'm going to give a shout out to my Aunt Regina, who is married to the author of Delinquent to Disciple, which is by James L. Robinson. Here, it's a celebrated book by um, James Robinson, and telling the story of how he again overcame. But I think that this is an amazing example to look at when you are wanting to maybe create content that's like healing and uplifting, or even if you're looking for something that has that transformation inside of it, and the world perhaps is trying to tell you, people don't change, people can't change, they're not, whatever. That's not true. This is an amazing example of that right here. So shout out to him. And again, like I said, I'm kind of fudging because it's, shout out to him and to his wife, Regina Robinson, who stands by him now as his wife, and celebrating his story and then sharing it. And so there's that. And then also need to give you all here another one here is uh by John Lewis, and you can see on the inside there, I think right here, he inscribed it to my daughter Kira and her brother Sky. They were blessed and fortunate enough to be able to interview John Lewis. And so this is really, yes, a shout out to John Lewis and his story. He did an amazing job here, taking something that I think could be boring. So the key takeaway for creators with this one is you might have a piece of content or a story to tell that you might have a subject matter that you're looking at and you're saying, how do I make that captivating? How do I make that interesting? And what he did was take his story and turn it into a graphic novel. And so I think this is a really amazing example for creators to remember that just because the subject matter that you are writing about or needing to talk about isn't necessarily what we call it, isn't necessarily like the most, like maybe you're not doing a huge like Transformers movie, right? Or you're not doing something that is considered so exciting by people, but but you can choose to tell that story in a really interesting and compelling way. And so shout out to John Lewis, and I'm giving a nod to Kira for being the young woman, and along with her brother who interviewed him. And I can't talk about Kira without talking about her own one of her products, and one of them is here. Let's see if I can get it to show up. Well, there we go. You can kind of see Kids Mic. Her and her brother did a CD, uplifting CD for kids that are 18 tracks of music and interludes that give constant encouragement to young people as they listen to it. It's got dope beats that make you like move. But then it's uplifting music that you already know as a parent. So it comes from hit songs that you already know. And so those are our shares for examples of content either by or related to dope, uplifting women. I really hope that you can take the tips that came along with them, about like transformation, about taking something that may seem familiar to others and saying, okay, but how are we going to do this in a way that it hits really strong, the way Isabella Wilkerson did, and even I would say John Lewis as well, with his really also how to weave together narratives, as we saw Harriet Beecher Stowe do with Uncle Tom's Cabin. But more than anything, I hope that you continue to create and produce the amazing content, work, efforts, serving that your purpose has called you to do, because it's needed, it's important, it matters. I will put links to all of these in the comments in case somebody wants to put their hands on one of them. And I would be remiss if I didn't share again that you do have help available to you in the personalassistantcenter.com that we created specifically to support and uplift dope creators, servant leaders like you. So thanks for jumping in, and hope you are off to have a really dope, uplifting, peace-filled day.